Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Steve Smith. I'm the editor of PHC News Magazine, and we're here at the AHR Expo in Chicago. And we're doing a series of interviews today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And right now, I'm joined by my good friend, Jan Andersson, president of MrPEX Systems. Jan, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
And Jan, I've known you forever, and I know we wanted to talk about a lot of misconceptions, perhaps, about PEX, particularly with the young people out there.
Yeah.
What do you want to say about that?
Well, first of all, so MrPEX was founded by a gentleman that brought PEX over here to the United States. I mean, it was way back when PEX was introduced or invented. Nobody really knew what it was. And the reason that it was invented was essentially that regular polyethylene, polypropylene, polybutylene, all the non-cross-linked products, they could not take a lot of temperature, a lot of pressure. So by cross-linking the molecules within the plastic, you give it another ability to have the high temperature, high pressures and whatnot. And so in the early 70s, a gentleman by the name of Thomas Lehmann, who is the founder of MrPEX, actually was the engineer developing a process over in Europe. He went around and got all the listings and all the approvals of the product. And so he got the nickname of MrPEX at that point. So fast forward a little bit, he introduced it to the United States. He wrote ASTM standards, to bring PEX into the United States. But the most important part is the PEX A product that he actually invented, which is a peroxide cross-linking. It actually allows the product to have a thermal memory and a shape memory, which is really interesting because there's also a PEX B out there, and then there's a PEX A obviously out there, right? So with the PEX B, typically you would have to use an insert fitting, and which we can still do, but a PEX A that has a thermal memory and a shape memory, you can expand the product and actually put the fitting in it. And that's what we're actually allowing all of this stuff to do. So MrPEX was actually introduced in 2001. So Thomas Lehmann started up his own company with introducing a PEX A product like ours, which is very flexible and so forth. So for all the young people out there getting into the industry, I think it's important for them to understand that PEX is not just PEX. There's PEX B, there's PEX A, and nothing wrong with choosing one or the other, but you have different characteristics of the different products.
It's not just all PEX.
It's not all PEX, no.
And are they confused about other PEX and other plastic piping? I mean, is it somehow lumped together? Oh, it's all plastic. Let's just use that.
Some people do that, but I think most people nowadays, they like PEX because it's a proven track record of a more solid product. PEX B is a good product. However, it does not have some of the features that PEX A does. And so that's what we do. We do PEX A systems for plumbing, heating, snow melting, and so forth. And so having the product available for all these different applications, we can do heating and plumbing. So the commercial manifolds, we got our bread and butter manifold over here. And so I think, the thing that's really interesting is that stainless steel has really become a big part of what we do nowadays. Stainless steel is more durable, it's lighter to work with, gives us the opportunity to put the different connections on the bottom, flat gasket connections. So from an installer standpoint, we really want something that's easy to work with, something that's gonna last a long time, and to have the capability of delivering what they wanna do. So this we sell mostly for floor heating and smaller snow melt packages, and then the larger commercial manifold that's on the other display over there. We will essentially, use that for the larger pipes and so forth.
But this system, the manifold, this is the manifold that you're selling.
Yep.
Like 1 and 2, and the box you also sell too. So it looks pretty nice.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And obviously it depends on what size.
Yeah, and of course these little actuators here allows you to zone the different systems. So different rooms can have different thermostats, and then, which you will see here in a minute, we'll actually talk about the zoning package that we have that allows you to control these remotely, wirelessly, which is one of the new things that we have.
And I guess I never really thought, this stainless, it's lightweight, number one.
Yep.
And durable, I guess?
Very durable, yes.
It's not
You want something that's gonna last a long time, especially if you embed it into the structure.
Yeah, you don't want it. Right, it's important. And how long have you had that on the market, the manifold system?
This has been probably the last 10 to 15 years.
Okay.
Yes.
So, all right, very good. Okay, cool.
Yes.
And so we got another commercial manifold.
Yep. So the commercial manifold essentially for higher flows.
Okay.
And this is a very sexy manifold as far as I'm concerned, being in the industry, right?
Right.
But you have higher flows, 1.5 inch. You can do up to 3/4 inch or 1 inch tubing on here. So if you do a really large warehouse or if you do a big snow melt system, this is perfect.
Okay. Very good. And you mentioned the controls. That's the other aspect, I guess, of your company.
Yes.
We talked about PEX. We got the manifolds, which is one way to I guess, put it all together. An elementary important, but albeit important one.
Yes.
And the controls, I guess, maybe a little more advanced, I guess, at least in my mind.
Well, the thing is that we actually started getting into the controls more and more over the years because all the big buildings are becoming more and more complicated with ground storage heat pumps, with all the different things. You need more things to control. So not only do you zone the rooms themselves, which is what we do with this other wireless system that we have on the other side, but we also then have a whole building control package, which actually can do anything from soup to nuts. So all the mechanical equipment within the structure you can control with this IDC package that we're actually introducing.
Because last year we talked about controls. It was somewhat new, a new division at least.
Yes.
And the IDC is new this year.
So we have a new updated version of the IDC, which is going to have some more capabilities for that part of it. So I think that's an important thing to show and to talk about a little bit. So
all right, we'll do.
Let's go over there.
Walk back that way. Jan, we're starting to talk about the new IDC system. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so basically a few years back, we actually started to dive more into the control package. We actually created a division for controls, which allows you to have a little bit more dedicated personnel for it. But the whole thing behind the scenes is this IDC package. And so this year we have an upgraded version of it. Essentially all the IOs, if you will, the wires, all the inputs, outputs from a regular system. So if you have a large commercial system, if you have a large house, you have so many things to control. You might have heat pumps, you have heating tanks, cooling tanks, ventilation. All that stuff needs to work in an orchestra together a little bit, right? And it's very difficult to find systems to do that at a reasonable price, for instance. This here, we have a cabinet that would land all the wires in this cabinet. You have a computer in here, you have a router, you have an IO block that takes care of all this stuff. And essentially what we do is we have then this communicating to these monitors, essentially that allows you to control the complete house, all the different equipment on that. So essentially you can see this is a big screen of what you have to interface. Each room would have the ability for a thermostat. You can have it on the phone, you can have it on the tablet, and essentially control the whole package that way. So IDC is now the ability to do anything that you want to do. Now, of course, we have to custom program it, of course, but it gives you the opportunity to do whatever you want with it. So it's a new step for us to be able to do all the big packages. So we're really excited about it.
Very good. Yeah. IDC indoor
integrated dynamic control.
Integrated dynamic control.
Yes. With this is the big system. We can actually feed our smaller wireless system into it.
Okay.
So if you just want to zone rooms, like a normal system, you can certainly just use the wireless zoning package. But this will then be the next level for the large package. So,
so wireless is kind of the junior version. This is more advanced.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Gotcha. Yeah, and we want to talk about the wireless system that you have on display here as well. So what can you tell us? Walk us through everything that you see here.
Yeah, essentially this is our wireless zoning package, which we introduced just a couple years ago as well. So this is the hydronic zoning side of things, and this is more of a smart home side of things, which is really interesting. It all is based on this gateway right here, which actually creates a Zigbee wireless signal and creates a network. That whole network then allows you to have communication of thermostats and controlling then actuators for the different zones in the house. You can control pumps. We can even add a HVAC thermostat to control on the same app. And so having an app actually controlling everything is really in one. There's very few people that have an app that can do hydronic and HVAC in the same package. That's one of the things that we can do with this, which is really cool. Now, because we have this wireless gateway, we now also have the ability to include some of the smart components. We have a smart boiler relay, a regular smart relay. We have some smart power blocks, and we have leak detectors also. So these little leak detectors are wireless.
Really? Okay.
This could go underneath a dishwasher or a washing machine. And when it senses moisture, it sends a signal right to the system. And then we can program it to actually close the valve of the water coming into the house. So, I mean, you've probably seen a lot of advertisements of that, but that saves a lot of money if you can shut the water off before you ruin the whole floor, right?
Absolutely.
So we have a lot of fun things with this. So having a wireless zoning package, I think, was the next step. And of course, like I said before, this gateway can communicate into that larger IDC package, which then allows you to have more equipment control.
Okay.
This is simply just zoning and smart components, and that is more the equipment control in the other package.
Ah, okay.
So we have both.
I was wondering how the distinction is, because
Yeah.
this is pretty cool. That was neat, but
Yeah.
I don't know, this is kind of growing on me.
A lot of people like the wireless stuff
Yes.
nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Very good. Anything else we could talk about?
It's basically it. I mean, you have all kinds of different components here. I mean, these are door sensors that we can use. We have radiator valves that are wireless.
Right.
So, I mean, whatever you need to do for your system, you can just package it
Yeah,
up.
I can't imagine there's nothing you can't do here.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. All right, Jan. Well, I think we covered a lot of good stuff. Talked about PEX,
Yep.
manifolds, controls, and probably everything in between that goes along with those
A little
things.
bit of
But
everything.
those are the highlights, yeah?
Love it.
Well, thanks for inviting me to the booth.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.